Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today TV. I'm Sakshi Batra, and with me I have a tax expert. You've spotted her often on our channel. Gauri Chadha joins right in, and the big budget has been delivered. Finance Minister began by talking about her speech and said that this is the first union budget of the Amrit Kal, and perhaps it has turned out to be a great budget for the middle class and the average taxpayers as well, because a lot has been changed when it comes to personal taxation front as well. So, first question to you, Gauri: how did you really find the budget? Was it as per your expectations? You already had a discussion with me yesterday when you were talking about that how new tax regime could actually be made more lucrative, and definitely some changes have come on that front.
Yeah, so exactly what I said yesterday on Business Today, I think it has happened. So we were expecting changes in new tax regime, we were expecting changes in standard deduction, and we were expecting changes in the rationalization of the tax slabs, and it has happened. So the standard deduction has, the rebate has increased.
Yeah.
The rebate from 5 lakhs to 7 lakhs has been done in the new regime. The tax rates have been rationalized. The slabs have been increased. For new regime, the new slab will now start from 3 lakhs. On a gap of every 3 lakhs, you will see an increase of 5%. And after 20%, straight away, you'll go to 30%. So now there is no 25% slab for the new tax regime. So it was a, I think, expected budget. Nothing unexpected has happened.
All right, so expected lines, but let me just tell for the benefit of all our viewers what exactly has happened. Just like how Gauri reiterated that the tax rebate under Section 87A has been increased from 5 lakhs to 7 lakhs now, and also the basic annual exemption limit that was earlier placed at 2.5 lakh rupees, that has now increased to 3 lakh rupees, and this is all under the new tax regime. The old tax regime, I believe, has not been touched at all.
They have not touched it because I feel that probably it will fade out in the coming years. They want to focus on the new regime, which is more towards no deduction and no exemption. So old regime will eventually fade out, and they'll focus on the new regime only. And people will, because now they have made it as a default regime also.
Yes, exactly.
If we see now, if when you'll go and file your return, your default tax regime will be the new regime. So this,
yeah, exactly. This is what I want you to clarify, because the finance minister said that this will be the default regime, which means what? The old tax regime goes away immediately, or does it mean that this will be the only option that we will get right as a default?
No, not at all. So, by default tax regime, she means that while filing your return, while calculating your return, the tax will be calculated on the basis of new tax regime. But if you want to opt out, you can opt out easily, and you can go to the new old regime also. But by default, you will be going for the new regime. So, it is up to you to calculate which regime is better for you, because if you leave it to the portal, it will give you the new regime only.
Only. All right. So we'll come to that as to which regime is still better for you after these current announcements that have come into effect. So right now, let me just tell you what exactly has happened in terms of the new tax slabs and what is the kind of rate that you will now have to give as a part of your income. So up to 3 lakh rupees, if your income is up to 3 lakh rupees, there is zero or nil tax. From 3 lakhs to 6 lakh rupees, the tax rate now will be calculated at 5%. From 6 lakh to 9 lakh, if that is the income slab that you fall under, the tax rate that you will be taxed at will be 10%. From 9 lakhs to 12 lakhs rupees of income, the tax rate will be at 15%. From 12 to 15 lakh rupees per annum, you will have to pay an income tax of 20%. And after that, above 15 lakh rupees, there will be the tax rate of 30%. So the slabs have been rationalized and the rate have also been rationalized on that front. But given these kind of the first two announcements that I just talked about, the basic annual exemption limit increasing to 3 lakh rupees and the tax rebate increasing to 7 lakh rupees, does it really make the new tax regime more attractive than the old tax regime for all the viewers who are watching us?
Yes, definitely. So, if we see like earlier years when the new regime was launched, and till date, new regime was not very lucrative. People were not opting for new regime. As per my calculation, although I was expecting some calculation from the finance minister also, that how many people have opted for the new regime, but that didn't come in. So, if we talk about the new regime, only probably 10 to 12% people have opted for it. So, yeah, now after this rationalization, the new regime becomes better. So, I'll give you a brief calculation. So, up to income of rupees 7 lakhs, if you have 7 lakhs below 7 lakhs, so earlier in new regime it was 32,500. Now you don't have to pay any tax. If we talk about 8 lakhs, the taxation was 45,000. Now you have to pay 35,000. For 9 lakhs earlier, it was 60,000. Now you have to pay 45,000, which finance minister also mentioned. Now for 10 lakhs, it was 75,000. Now it will be 60,000. For 11 lakhs, from 95,000 to 75,000. For up to 12 lakhs, 1 lakh 15,000 to 90,000. For 13 lakhs, 1 lakh 37,500 to 1 lakh 10,000. For 14 lakhs, 1 lakh 62,500 to 1 lakh 30,000, and above 15 lakhs, 1 lakh 87,500 to 1.5 lakhs. All this calculation is without the health and education cess, because the finance minister also stated these figures without health and education cess. So I'm also stating that ways only. So there's a definitely
This comparison is from the
Earlier, yeah.
earlier, new tax regime only, the tax that you used to pay on that income before and after. But what if we compare the old tax regime and the rates that you used to pay there and the rates in the revised new tax regime that have now come into effect? How does it, now fare between each other, and how does one really decide which one is better?
So if we assume that you are taking 1.5 lakh deduction for 80C, your standard deduction 50,000, and your mediclaim section 80D for 25,000, then the break even point will come at 8 lakh 75,000. So if you go above 8.75 lakh, you go for old regime or new regime, it will be equal. And if you go above 8.75, like your income increases from 8.75 thousand, then you will basically pay lower tax in new regime.
Okay, what about the surcharge that has been reduced? Who ultimately gets to benefit, and what is the kind of benefit that will be there?
So surcharge is definitely for the higher class, for the rich people. Earlier it was increased, although I don't see any reason behind increasing the surcharge. I think our Prime Minister also mentioned that. Of course it's a very good step, and although I feel that. If they had some margin in the budget, they could have given that benefit to the common man only. But it's okay. Even surcharge, reducing the surcharge is a good move.
What about the standard deduction that has been increased in the new tax regime? Does it make any difference? I mean, like substantial difference?
Not really, because it's a very small amount. But yes, earlier there was no standard deduction in the new regime, because in new regime we were not getting any deduction, any exemption. So now we'll be getting standard deduction, but that is only if your income is above 15.5 lakhs. So it's a very high figure, and I don't think so. A person who is earning such income is really bothered about 52,500 rupees. So if they would have given it for people who are earning below 10 lakhs, that would have been better, I think.
Okay, what about the changes that have been done to, say, for example, LTA for government employees? I think the exemption has gone up over there too.
Yeah, that's a very good step. I think they have increased the exemption to 25 lakhs. So that's a very good step. And I really believe that people who are, that is not LTA, that is leave encashment.
Leave in cash.
Leave encashment, yeah. So definitely it's a very good step. Yeah, so it's a welcome step.
Okay, apart from that, was there anything else on the taxation front that you really that caught your eye?
I think the section 54 and section 54F, if we talk about these two sections, now if you invest your money in a residential property to save tax, or you invest your money in capital gain bonds, the tax saver bonds, although tax saver bonds anyways have limit of 50 lakhs. So if you talk about residential property, if you're investing in a residential unit and you want to claim the tax benefit, then you can claim just up to 10 crores. Above that, you will have to pay tax. So they have basically capped it at 10 crores, which I think is fair enough. It's a very good amount. So if you are earning capital gain above 10 crores, you can very well pay tax also.
Just for clarification of all our viewers, this capital gains is not which is put on the stock markets, but on the other asset classes. Perhaps if somebody is buying bonds or houses.
Yeah, so it's basically 54 section is for when you sell a residential property and you invest in another residential property to save tax. Section 54F is where you sell any other asset other than residential house, which will include your shares. Your long term capital gain on shares will be included in section 54F. So for that also you can invest in residential property. So both these sections are covered. So in these sections now you can save tax up to like 10 crores is the threshold where you can reinvest the money and save tax.
Okay. Ultimately, just wanted to understand from you, after doing these kind of changes from the finance minister in this upcoming budget, earlier you already discussed with me earlier also that, there were not many takers of the new regime when the government had really launched this. After this, do you see a lot of investors, a lot of taxpayers really shifting out from the old tax regime to adopt this one?
Yes, definitely. Now I feel that there will be people who will be shifting to new regime. Although for people who are into business and profession, I still doubt, because once they opt in for the new regime, they cannot change it every year. So they will still think twice before shifting to the new regime. But the salaried class will definitely opt for the new regime because they'll pay less tax and they'll save more money. They will basically they'll have more cash in hand because they wouldn't have to invest money in tax saving bonds, ppf and everything. So they can have more cash in hand as well as save more taxes. So definitely new regime will be better for them now.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Gauri, for being with us and discussing with us all those details on Business Today TV when it comes to the great announcements that have been made by the finance minister in this budget when it comes to the new tax regime. Many thanks for joining us.